If you're still a LastPass user, listen up. Scammers still think you're worth targeting. I know, even after all these data breaches, you'd think they'd already have everything that they need, and with enough time cracking the hashes, they probably do. But in their latest campaign, they're skipping all the hard work and just asking you to hand it over. Starting January 19th, a new phishing campaign hit inboxes with emails screaming, "Back up your vault in 24 hours or else." These emails came from totally trustworthy addresses like support@lastpass.server8 and my personal favorite, support@sr22vegas.com. Because when I think password hygiene, I totally think Vegas. Anyways, these emails contain subject lines such as "create a backup before maintenance" or "don't miss out, back up your vault before maintenance." If you click the Create Backup button, you're then redirected to mail-lastpass.com, which, spoiler alert, is not actually lastpass.com. All right? LastPass issued a statement that it essentially explained that, hey, they would never do a panic backup. That would be very stupid. They also pointed out that the attackers deliberately launched this attack over the MLK holiday weekend when they knew that security teams would be understaffed, which is frankly kind of smart timing, I guess. So remember, if you want to stay secure, even after multiple LastPass breaches, your master password is the most important thing. It must be complex and it must be unique, okay? And again, LastPass will never ask you for your master password. If an email tries to create urgency around your vault, it's probably because somebody is urgently trying to steal it. What you need to do is just delete any emails or report it to abuse@lastpass.com and, I don't know, maybe start looking for an alternative password manager. Just saying. Moving on. Remember when cars were just cars? When the biggest tech vulnerability was somebody hotwiring your ignition? Yeah, those were the days, right? Well, welcome to today and the Pwn to Own Automotive 2026, where researchers just spent day one absolutely demolishing everything that makes your modern smart vehicle so smart. The carnage started in Tokyo, where teams competed to hack in-vehicle infotainment systems, EV chargers, and, Teslas. By the end of the first day, they discovered 37 unique zero-day vulnerabilities and pocketed over $500,000 in bounties. Team Fuzzware.io is currently leading the Master of Pwn competition, which more sounds like a video game achievement to be. But anyway, the exploits, folks, these things are legit. And this is just a few of the highlights, okay? Team Synactive hacked into Tesla's infotainment system with USB, basically chaining two vulns on top of each other to get full access to the device. And they ended up walking away with $35,000. Sony's XAV 9500 ES media receiver, that thing got totally pwned too. Alpine's LX F5100, multiple teams broke into this thing like it was a community piñata. And don't even get me started on the EV chargers, folks. Researchers were popping these things left and right, manipulating the charging signals, executing code, basically proving that the electric vehicle's smart charger is about as secure as a screen door on a submarine. Yeah. The biggest payout of the day went to, again, Team Fuzzware, and they got $60,000 for compromising the Alptronic HYC50 fast charger. That just blows my mind, folks. One bug, 60 grand. I mean, that's crazy. Oh, and here's the really funny part from the event. 54% of the apps that they tested were still using default creds like admin and password in production on the internet. I mean, default creds, I can't believe it. We've got cars that can literally drive themselves, developed by people that can't even remember to change the password. So yeah, your Tesla might be able to summon itself from a parking lot, but apparently it can also be hacked via thumb drive too. So the future's here and it's slightly terrifying. So drive safe, folks, or at least update your firmware, okay? All right, this one is one of my favorite stories of the day because it's the cybersecurity equivalent of leaving your front door wide open and then being absolutely shocked when somebody walks in and sets up a mining operation in your basement. So Pentera Labs just published research showing that major security vendors and Fortune 500 companies, the people who are supposed to know better, they ended up leaving nearly 2,000 intentionally vulnerable training apps exposed to the public internet. We're talking about apps like OWASP's Juice Shop, Damn Vulnerable Web App, and Hackazon. These are intentionally vulnerable apps that are designed to teach developers about security vulnerabilities. These are apps that need to be contained in a local network because they're intentionally broken. And making these things publicly internet facing is a huge screw up. And here's where it gets spicy. These weren't just sitting there collecting dust either. Attackers were already in there actively exploiting them. Out of 616 DVWA instances, 20% had been compromised and were running crypto miners, web shells, and sophisticated persistence scripts. One script was so good it would resurrect itself if deleted, it would kill competing malware, and download its encrypted payloads from an anonymous Dropbox. It's actually quite impressive if it weren't, completely illegal. But here's where it gets even better, okay? These vulnerable apps weren't just attached to cloud accounts. They were attached to wildly overprivileged cloud accounts. We're talking full admin access, folks. In some cases, researchers found 109 exposed credential sets. Many were tied to large companies like Cloudflare and F5 and others. One DVWA instance running on a victim who I will not name gave researchers and presumably attackers as well full administrative access to the entire tenant. I mean, we're talking about the whole kit and caboodle. The company said that this was a training account on a training instance, but still, that still stings. So anyways, the researcher who discovered all this built a tool called SIGINT to automate the finding of these exposed apps at scale. It's open source and on GitHub if you want to check it out. So again, let's recap, folks. Security vendors left intentionally vulnerable training apps on the public internet. Attackers found it, installed crypto miners, and stole cloud credentials, and probably had a good laugh at the same time. The lesson here is it doesn't matter how many fancy security tools you buy. If you're leaving the basics, like not exposing intentionally broken apps with admin privileges on the internet, that's a good place to start. As one researcher put it, the lab door should never stay open. Apparently, that needed to be said out loud to security professionals. So that wraps up our stories for the day. This is Andy Thompson signing off.